It's blowing in the wind again, it's drifting in the rain. Before the dead have mouldered yet, or wounded heal their pain. I am so old, my grandchildren, that I remember when I marched to hail the armistice. I was barely 10. That was the war against all wars, to save democracy. Praise God, they said, we've won the peace for all eternity. I marched for Spain when some years passed, and marched and marched, and then there was the war to end all war, and so I marched again. I marched in Minneapolis, Chicago and Duluth, in San Francisco and New York. I marched to shout the truth. I marched in Hiroshima and knelt before a stash of tens of million bones of people atomized to ash. And with the distant rumble of new regiments of men, I read the warning on the tomb, this must not be again. I marched to staunch Korea's blood, I marched for Vietnam, I marched to stop the napalm, and I marched to stop the bomb. I marched and marched and marched, oh Lord, I'm sure I've done my due. I've marched since I was barely 10, and now I'm 72. I should be lying in the sun or dreaming in the grass. But how, when generals everywhere are polishing their brass, entranced with dreams of 4-star roles, so help me Lord, they're glad. It's said that whom the gods destroy, they first must render mad. Their burning eyes see no man's lands, and armies poised for action. And you, my warm and loving ones, are merely an abstraction. It's geopolitics again, and oh, with what finesse the players push their pawns about, these masterminds of chess. How cunningly they plot each move, how skillfully they spar, and checkmate one another like the masters that they are. How stimulating, how intense, a world to lose or gain, except for one dismaying fact: the players are insane. Controlled, dispassionate, they play this game that madness spawns, and I can't even look away. My children are the pawns. I marched to staunch Korea's blood, I marched for Vietnam, I marched to stop the napalm, and I marched to stop the bomb. I've marched and marched and marched, oh Lord, I'm sure I've done my due. I've marched since I was barely 10, and now I'm 72. Some people keep on fighting when they've lost an arm or leg. Some still keep up the struggle when they're fragile as an egg. I've heard men rasping, I object, with voices turned to gravel. I've seen a woman raise a fist who couldn't lift a gavel. And even with a broken heart, one still can make a stand. So lead my children, lead the way, reach back and take my hand. We'll march again, confound them all, don't quibble at my age. I'll shield you with my brittle bones, I'll nourish you with rage. I marched to staunch Korea's blood, I marched for Vietnam. I marched to stop the napalm, and I marched to stop the bomb. I've marched and marched and marched, oh Lord, I'm sure I've done my due. I've marched since I was barely 10, and now I'm 72.